Then we left very early yesterday. We probably could have done the show yesterday, but you know.
Now, when you say we left very early, what does that mean to you, Dan Goodsell? Because to me, that's like 7 a.m. That's like a really early time to leave.
We left at 6.
Too much.
That's
too much.
Very early. That's very early for just getting anyone other than myself to leave early is 6 o'clock. Very early.
It's tough. Yeah, that's tough.
Very early is 6 o'clock for most normal human beings. For me, that's late in the day.
I'm mid-afternoon. I've had my lunch. I'm in my mid-afternoon nap.
It's true. Sometimes
oh boy.
Sometimes I sit here on the couch at 9 o'clock and I go like this.
Hey, watch him with Dan and Tony. Hey, watch him with Dan and Tony. It's like watching, yeah.
Welcome to Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm Dan and I don't have a light.
I'm Tony. I've got 2 lights in front of me, 1 light behind me, and a light up sign.
See,
a lot of lights.
I don't turn on lights because it's too hot.
Yeah, listen, these are LEDs. They don't put off too much heat. It's not bad. It's not bad. You know what puts off a lot of heat is actually my computer setup because I have 3 computers on. That's too much heat.
It's a dry heat that comes off the LED.
It's a nice dry heat. It's not too humid. It's good.
So here on Hate Watching, we watch a movie, then we talk about a movie, and then we wonder how we had more thoughts about the movie than the people that made the movie.
And maybe that's our problem. Maybe we're overthinking it, Dan. We got to think less, make more.
So this week, I picked a movie, and I picked the classic from 2004, Taxi, clocking in at a super long hour and 38 minutes, which somehow this movie had so many setups, like they were like, You were like, well, maybe something will happen. They're like, nope, we're leaving the plot line to go.
We're moving on.
We're driving out of town. It takes place in New York City. We're driving to Poughkeepsie, and we're going to spend a couple of days there while the movie happens back behind us.
Well, it's just like life, Dan. Life isn't linear. Things are happening on the peripherals, and it's nice that we sometimes get to visit it. I'm just saying.
We got to meet his alcoholic mom in all her glory. And
boy, they thought that alcoholism was funny. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that entire thing. It's weird. It's weird for them to know. I feel like usually if someone's an alcoholic, you don't point it out and then also laugh at it. Right? It's kind of like there's something going on, blah, blah, blah. But he's just like, yeah, she's an alcoholic. It's hilarious. I love it. I'm not trying to help her at all.
Wah, 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 wah. This is going to end well, her being a fall over alcoholic. Like, what is happening?
Her liver's fine. Don't worry about it.
This is a movie that has 6 or 7 different tones at different times that you're just like, well, what is that? Where can someone decide what this movie's, where we're going with this?
No, they sure can't. I wonder, I should have looked up. Did you look up how many people wrote this movie? I wonder if it was a collection of writers and they each had their own ideas.
Man, this is the first time in a while I haven't really looked over the movie because you have to imagine this movie was written and then rewritten and then rewritten because this feels like it's a Queen Latifa movie that they then decided to put Jimmy Fallon in. And then they were like, oh no, it's actually a Jimmy Fallon movie, but we're going to still start our major plot with her and then end it also with her. And it was very weird.
But then we follow him most of the movie. It's strange. It's a strange time. I love it.
You love it?
I mean, I had a good. I'm gonna be honest with you, Dan. I had a pretty good time with this movie. It's not a good movie, but I laughed. I laughed and laughed.
You laughed, really? There were
a couple times. I think I wrote down a couple of the jokes. Yeah.
Okay, good. No,
let me see if I can. I'm looking through my notes to see if I can find any things that I said. Jokes. Yep. There's a parrot joke that I liked at one point. So that's that's something good.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a couple of great moments with Jimmy Fallon driving. Dan, this is a hot movie. Okay, we'll get there.
We'll get there. So we start with the titles where we go right into Beyonce Crazy Right Now. Which was fine. And we have this guy on a bike doing parkour and going through the subway. And it's like, okay, I'm like, okay, the cinematography's pretty good. The action's all right. Okay, boom. Boom, she shows up. I mean, the male bike messenger shows up at the bike messenger thing, pulls off a helmet, and he has become Queen Latifah.
Okay. It's just real quick. I don't know.
See, you're laughing more now, Tony, than you. I do not believe you laughed as much as that in the movie. That I do not.
I laughed
think you probably
just
said,
as hard during the movie. While I watched this scene happen was the hardest I might have laughed the whole time. When she pulls off the helmet and you're like, holy shit, it's a body swap. Because the person that's riding the bike, yes, is a man for sure. But not just a man. A fairly thin, athletic man. And then we cut, and not that Queen Latifah's big, I'm not fat shaming her, but she's not a skinny, petite man with like a straight up and down, you know what I'm saying? Like she's got some curves, she's got a body. And this, I lost my shit, Dan. I knew I was in for a real treat because I laughed so hard at the first 45 seconds of this movie. I was ready to go.
See, Tony, I don't think that was what they were going for.
You have to be wrong. I refuse to believe that this isn't a joke. Because if anybody was on set and they shot this guy doing BMX tricks and thought for 1 second that people would believe it was Queen Latifah, I will lose my mind. Okay. There's no way it's not a joke. They did this. They thought it's hilarious, and we're supposed to be in on the joke. I firmly believe it, Dan.
Wow, you were ripe to buy some real estate in the middle of the Hudson River. Okay, sure.
If you tell me it's good land, I'll buy it. You just let me know. If you know something people don't, you let me know, Dan.
So this is Belle. This is her last day as a bike messenger. Now she's going to become a taxi cab driver.
Listen,
yeah,
the exposition in this scene is unbelievable. The boss comes out the door and he goes, "As you all know, this is her last day." You don't say that. You don't need to say, no. You don't need to remind them, as you guys all are well aware, as you're already celebrating her last day. I just want to make sure everyone remembers it is indeed her last day.
That is how you start every improv scene. As you all know.
As you know. Let me catch you up on all of my thoughts so everyone's on the same page.
Let me tell you where we're at, what's happening, and who the characters you can see around you so that everyone understands that my ideas rule all.
We are doing my scene, motherfuckers.
So they've gotten her a titanium supercharger. And you're like, okay, titanium supercharger.
Not a real part, right? I don't know anything about cars. I assume this is not a real part.
Well, yeah, no, a supercharger is a real thing, and titanium is a type of metal, so you could make a supercharger out of titaniums, I suppose. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of, I don't think that's how anyone would refer to such a thing, but maybe.
Okay, sure. Okay, well, there you go.
We see that, then we have, this is all during the titles, Luc Besson is like the executive producer, and he might have written part of the story, so I was like, okay, that's interesting.
And I should know who that is because
Luc Besson did The Fifth Element.
Oh, well, yeah. I love that movie.
Yeah, he's a big European director producer. He's done a lot. If you ran down the list, you'd see a lot of things. Sometimes they work, sometimes they're terrible.
Hey, listen, he's still making movies. That's all that matters.
So she has a hot boyfriend, which I think she talks to him on the phone, and they have a hot dinner date tonight. And of course, she is late. Then what happens? Every apartment.
Well, she has to go get her taxi license.
Oh yeah,
from the DMV.
Yeah,
so is that what it is?
Yeah, so she has to go get her taxi license from the DMV, and so she goes there, and there's a big line, and she's number 138, and they're like, "Book the line, even if you got an appointment."
And that's my problem. She walks in, she's like, I've got an appointment. And some guy's like, we've all got appointments. Back of the line. That's not how appointments at the DMV work. That's the point of making an appointment, is to skip the line. I've done it. Because if you don't, listen, hot tip for anyone moving out to Los Angeles, if you don't make an appointment at the DMV, you will be there for the entire day. I'm saying 7 hours minimum. You will be sitting on a seat, standing in line. It is brutal. Make an appointment. You're in and out 20 minutes.
I had to do something with the DMV one time, and I went to the one sort of here. It was like this big weird one. And I walked inside, and there was this line that was 1,000 miles long. And I was like, oh, my God, what have I done? And then I realized I had Auto Club. And I was like,
oh, and that's good, too?
Maybe Auto Club could do this. Because Auto Club, I do my insurance through the Auto Club. You know?
Okay.
So I was like, I'll go down. I'll go over there. So I was like, left that line. I was like, I can't deal with this. There's a registration thing. Went to the Auto Club. Ladies like there, no line. I walk up there. She's like, oh, yeah, we do this. And then she just like went and did it.
That's incredible. Now, Dan, for the audience out there, is the Auto Club, is that a 60-plus type of thing? What's going on here?
Anybody can do Auto Club. You have to pay. It's like,
I don't know what Auto Club is.
The Auto Club of America, AAA, AAA.
Auto Club of America.
Yeah, the AAA.
Oh, the roadside assistance people.
Yeah, so they do roadside assistance, but they also do insurance. I've had my insurance with them my entire life. And
okay, but they also maybe do registrations.
And
that's a hot tip.
And if you like lose a license plate, you just go to Auto Club and they're like, here's a new license plate.
How do you lose a license plate? It's on your car.
It could fall off or it could be stolen.
Stolen. Yeah, but then you're in trouble. How do you tell people that, hey, by the way, this one was stolen and they're going to use it for a bank robbery?
Well, we'll see that in this movie.
That's you darn right.
You just tell Auto Club and then they report it as stolen or missing.
All right. Well, listen, Auto Club sponsors our podcast. So go get yourself an Auto Club membership, everybody.
So she has to spend all this time there. So, you know, she gets home very late. And then, do they even show him asleep? She doesn't even really, they don't even show what happened with him.
I don't think they show him, but dinner is on the table. There's
dinner's
the place setting, and there's a note that just says, what happened?
She doesn't go in there and kiss him or wake him up. She just ignores him.
No, definitely not.
So instead she works on her taxi, and then in the morning also doesn't see him, and then just drives away in her taxi to start working.
Now, what's weird is she's working on her taxi in her negligee, which is very strange because you're going to get oil all over that thing, and it is ruined.
Never in a million years.
But then it's a cut, and she's still working on the taxi in the morning, but then she's fully dressed. So now I don't know if she worked through the night or if she worked a little bit, went to bed, woke up, and worked again. I don't know. It's unclear, but I didn't like it.
Nothing in this movie, this movie will just, if you want the two characters together, they will just continue to be together. They never have even a line that kind of explains why they are still together. They're just like, nope, we are glued at the hip. Once they sort of get glued, the two characters at the hip, they never stop. And
that's it. Yeah, we got 2 stars. We need them in every scene.
No rationale as to why they go through this movie together. Belle, the taxi driver, there's no reason for her to be in most of this movie.
No, but she is. Thank goodness.
So she's off there, takes her first fare, goes to JFK. He needs to get there fast, and so she pushes the magic buttons, and her taxi goes. And
she's driving a transformer.
Transforms, including she has the fake license plate button.
Right, which is great because then, she can speed all she wants and not get in trouble or something like that. But doesn't she need to have a taxi number?
They only look at the license. They only look at the license plate number. That's the only number on the vehicle that they can see.
Okay, my fault. It's been a while. I live in Los Angeles. It's been a while since I've taken a taxi, so I could be wrong.
That big number on the top of the vehicle that says what number it is,
not a thing.
They're never gonna write that one down. They're only a license plate number, only number that exists to them.
Now, Dan, how do taxis work? Because I was under the impression that
internal combustion.
Okay, that's how engines work.
Yeah.
She should really get an e-taxi. That probably exists now, right?
Sure.
I thought that you rented the taxis from like a taxi place.
I think it varies. I think there's various ways to do it. If you have a
You can own a taxi.
sure.
Okay. I didn't know.
I mean,
I just
let me rephrase that. Certain places I know you can do that, and I know certain other
Okay.
places the company will own like a fleet of taxis, and then you will just be a driver that shows up and they'll hand you a taxi and then you drive for them.
Okay.
So I think it's probably two different ways that it happens.
Two different methods. Okay. I just it felt weird that she was doing all of this modification on something that I wasn't sure she really owned or not. But all right.
Yes. Well, but I mean, once again, it's not the taxi, it's the number, right? You own like the number.
Okay.
And they're called
So that's the license that she was getting.
I would assume so. I mean, I do not believe that that's the process whereby you get that, and it's a bunch of guys, hey, what's the matter for you?
Hey, what do you want there? We got lots of numbers.
I think it's a different thing because owning those, I think they're called taxi badges or something. I think that's a real particular business.
TBs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah, listen, I don't know anything about taxis. I apologize. I've derailed us long enough. Let's go.
Yeah, so she transforms it.
There's not enough room in the taxi for all the parts that come out. Let's just say, let's just throw that out there. All when her car transforms and it like flips stuff, where does that stay? Where does it stay, Dan? What's the point of this?
I have no idea what the point is.
Okay, well, if you don't know, I don't know.
Well, later on in the movie, the person's like, the lieutenant's like, your cab has 17 things that makes it not street legal. And you're just like,
sure.
What?
What?
There's a lot of weird lines in this movie that are like, this is supposed to be funny. And you're like, no, it's not as bad.
But there's some good stuff coming up.
So she drives like a maniac. The guy in the back's like, whoa, whoa. And then the police follow her. And then she gets to the airport. And then she clicks the button. The license plate changes. And, she's all like,
just a regular taxi.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Now we get our first shot of Giselle and the hot squad of 3 hot ladies to the tune of Wild Thing. Wop, 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 Wild Thing.
That was the least energetic Wild Thing rendition I have ever heard, Dan.
Do you want to talk about Giselle and the hot ladies of bank robbery?
I'm trying. I don't want to be rude about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's just say I disagree with some of the casting choices.
You didn't think they were hot? What does that mean?
Correct. That's what that means. Yeah.
Like leggy blonde. They're leggy lady.
One of them
blonde.
is a brunette. Her face is all messed up. Here's the thing about
I don't think people. The faces are fine, but I think they're worried. They want just tall, thin.
Well, so that's the problem.
Yeah.
Listen, that's why I'm trying not to get in this because I'm a chauvinistic man, right? I don't know if I agree.
This girl's not hot.
I don't know if I agree with the casting.
This girl's not hot enough for me. If you're having 4 hot lady bandits, they better all be 10s. One of them was like a 7. I'm very disappointed. You're
selling to me. If you're selling to me that they are very attractive and that's why they're going to get away with their stuff, then you should follow through on your own premise. But I don't understand who they are
because they're not characters. They're not characters.
Okay.
The key to making a movie where there's conflict between good guys and bad guys is to have bad guys. They're not even bad guys. It's like when they get caught, sort of, you don't care. You're like, okay, they're caught. They never really conflicted with the good guys.
Nope.
There was, they never said something like we don't even know why they're doing it. They're just stealing money to steal money.
I have no idea. That's what I don't even know why are they here. Like who? I don't understand anything about them.
And we set up at a certain point that they have to rob 3 banks, and you're like, why? Why do they have to rob 3 banks?
Is there a deadline? Do they work for someone? Do they owe someone money? Like, why do they need to do it in this amount of time? And also, are they supposed to be models that are now also doing? I don't get it, Dan. Nope. I don't understand any of it. So all I see is that they're basically props for eye candy. but I don't think they did that part well. That's what I'm saying.
Got it. So you're like, if you're only going to hire these girls to be hot girls, you better pick hotter girls because these girls aren't hot enough for you.
Hold on. See, now you're making it sound bad again. I'm just saying. All right, I quit. I'm out. Well, I'm out.
You know what I'm saying? The issue with it is one of them is Gisele Bündchen, who goes on to marry Tom Brady, and she's attractive, but at a certain point, you're like, there's these other three girls, and you're like, I can't even tell the difference between the three girls. They don't even give each of the girls like a.
Do they have names?
No, they don't. Absolutely don't.
Okay, I didn't think so. I just wanted to make sure.
Did she? I don't even think she had a name. I don't even think the main girl had a name. And
no, I don't. Yeah, you're probably right.
You got to have one with like short black spiky hair. You got to have one with like a big scar or something. You got to give them each something.
Maybe personalities. Maybe they each kind of have their own. Even if it's just a very generic, like you're the punk one, you're the soft spoken one, you're the slutty one. Just something. I don't know, but they should have real people. They should be people.
And they hamstring them even worse by making them all speak Brazilian, except the one time where the one speaks in English and is all like, y'all, what do you... She does like a New York. She does like New York. Weird accent. And you're just like, wait, why is she talking like a weird New Yorker when they're all Brazilians? Why isn't she talking like a hot Brazilian? Like, wouldn't you talk like a hot Brazilian if you're a hot Brazilian?
Also, who made the decision to make them Brazilian? What's the point of that? I don't understand any of it.
So that they're talking Brazilian, because then our heroes somehow understand Brazilian.
Yeah, listen, I don't know. So, long story short, I don't get it, and I don't like it.
And they're like basically the worst villains, like in any movie ever.
I'm not even sure they're villains.
Exactly, they're not even villains. They're like just plot devices that drive around the city.
Yeah.
Strike one. Then we get this whole thing with Jimmy Fallon puts on a fake mustache and he's meeting these guys to buy phone cards, and then they're from Cuba and he has to say he's from Cuba. Then he does this voice, and then they're like, kiss the setup, and he's like, no, you're setting up because there's a guy behind the door, and then everyone does a laugh thing, and then there's a car chase. And then he adjusts the seat.
Oh,
and
wait.
Crashes into a bodega and kills a parrot. And then the airbag goes off like, pooh, as the last punchline of the bit.
Okay, but you missed
Moving on.
One. No, you missed a good joke. I want to point out the good jokes because, I feel bad. We're going to shit on the movie a bunch. There's a good joke in here. So he's doing the fake accent. He's pretending he's from Cuba. And they're like, hey, where you from? Where are you from, man? And he says that he's on the corner of Castro Street. And then they're like, that's not a real place. And then as they're running away. It's like, how can there not be a Castro Street in Cuba? That's insane, right?
Yeah.
It's a good joke, Dan. Oh. It made me laugh.
Oh, that was that was the joke. The joke was, how can there not be a Castro Street in Cuba? Oh, yeah, good one.
It's a fine joke. It landed well. I giggled.
No, it landed on you. It didn't land. It landed on you, but
It landed on everybody. This one joke has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Like just
that's a new thing that
clip
we're
shows.
judging.
10 hours of this joke. It's so funny. It gets funnier every time. Yeah. So he can't. So he's setting up that he can't drive, and he's inept as a. He's
okay, but here's the thing.
And he can't drive.
And he can't do anything.
Yeah.
Right? I don't understand how he has a job.
Okay.
But also, it's weird because he knew that he had to be a Cuban guy.
You would think.
It seemed like, because he came in with the mustache and the accent. But he didn't do any research. Like, he didn't do the bare minimum of his undercover identity. I don't know, man.
And this is like it's like a phone card scheme. Like this is
SIM cards. I don't know. I was a little confused.
Like what does he exactly do?
No say. I don't know, man.
Like if you're busting that, then you're in like fraud or something. I guess I don't know. It's like the thing about
departments.
The thing about police, because at a certain point he has to go and be a uniform again.
Yeah, he's back to like street patrol. Yeah, I don't know.
Which doesn't make any sense. If he's in major crimes or fraud or the murder squad, those are all things you do.
I hope that they call themselves Murder Squad. Because that's a great name.
That's what they call them over in Ireland. There's a really good really good show.
See, the Irish just get it, man. They just get it.
Murder Squad.
But so then he gets in the car, and he puts it in reverse instead of forward, right? But he reverses for, I don't know, a full block before he crashes into. Why doesn't he just stop?
Oh, because he panics.
Okay, I don't know how I feel about this.
I don't completely disagree with that, because when people get in those modes, where they're like, you think that they take their foot off, but then they like, should I do this one?
Then they don't.
Even though all you would have to do is take your foot off, and then it stops.
Okay, all right. Listen, if you think that this panic is real, I'll buy it. I'll give it a pass.
So, boom, he goes to the office, which is, the police office, and they give him a Driving for Dummies book. There's a lady lieutenant who calls him in there, and she says there's $40,000 in damage. His name is Andy. He's a bad driver. She takes his license and puts him on uniform duty. What is their relation?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think their relationship is in this scene?
I thought it was kind of like same-aged mother-son. That's the way I was looking at it.
Same-aged mother-son.
Yeah, it was, same-age nepotism. That's what it felt like to me.
There you get there. Exactly. I was like, oh, the lieutenant's his sister.
Oh, okay. No, okay. Let me back up from the same-aged mother-son comment. I like yours. I want to do brother-sister.
But
let's take it again.
We're saying the same thing, right?
Sure.
Same age mother-son means that she feels like strangely responsible for him.
Yeah.
But there is no sexual tension between the two of them.
Well, no. But in her defense,
yes.
I'm not sure that that's possible with the character that he's doing.
Well, because what we're going to find out as the movie goes on is that they were in training together, and then she became a lieutenant. He stayed at the same level. But he does say they did date.
He says that, but I don't believe that.
Oh, you don't believe that? Okay.
So there's that. There's the part where I'm like, nah, he's making that part up.
So he should have said, yeah, but we dated when we were in there. And then she's supposed to say, you dated? Well, I mean, we took classes together. He should have said something that made you understand that
they spent time together. I don't know.
We spent a lot of time. We spent a lot of time together.
We studied late nights.
I used to see her in the library. Sexually,
because the whole thing is he keeps kind of trying to flirt with her sometime. You know what I mean? And she never gives anything back. She never. It feels like he stalked her. And now it has not stopped. I don't know.
And it's weird. It's weird and it's uncomfortable. And you don't enjoy the two of them interacting ever.
No, it's better when they're not in the same scenes.
Now, who is she? She's something. She's from something.
She is somebody. I recognize her big time, but not enough to tell you who she is in this juncture. I'm stretching out my words as Jennifer Esposito, of course. Knew it. I knew that.
What do we know her from, Tony?
The Master of Disguise, one of the greatest films of all time, which is definitely going to happen on this podcast at some point.
Oh, that's like a terrible Dana Carvey movie?
I mean, it's part of what you just said. It is a Dana Carvey movie. Get it, got it, doubt it. Great stuff. I still quote it all the time.
Oh, God.
I guess we've just seen her around. She's not... I don't see like a ton of stuff that's like, oh, yeah, that's the thing.
Okay.
So she's just around. She did NCIS for an undetermined amount of time. Blue Bloods a little. So I mean, she's around. Crash.
She feels like
that movie.
She feels like a TV actress. Like you're like, oh, okay.
Dracula 2000. Maybe that's what I know her from.
Yeah, probably.
I love that movie. That movie's great. That's Gerard Butler as Dracula, Dad. This movie's incredible. Maybe we should do Dracula 2000.
Oh,
People hate that movie.
We got Halloween coming up. We could use a Dracula
and
movie.
we got a G butt. You just can't. We can't get away from him.
Can't get away from the butt.
I love that
guy. Belle and the boyfriend have a makeup call, and that's sort of resolved for now. Okay, boom, bank robbery's happening. He runs into the middle of the road. Stop, I need a car to chase the bad guys, because somehow he's standing there while the bad guys, and then we have 100 cars crash into each other. And then he's like, oh.
And then just runs away. He causes 30 cars to crash as a policeman runs away. This guy's he's not likable. He's incompetent. This is one of the worst characters we've ever seen.
He may be the worst police. The movie really should end with him not being a police officer anymore. That should be the result.
I don't know
of the
how
movie.
he became a police officer, because he hasn't shown one single skill.
So, boom, he stops her taxi, and then he gets in her taxi, and then there's a chase.
Yep. Is this where she says, buckle up for safety? Or did I miss that already?
No, I think this is where she says, buckle up, motherfucker, or something, right?
But she doesn't say it.
No,
and I
bleep
thought...
it out. It's implied in the trailer.
Exactly. In my head, she says, buckle up for safety, motherfucker. She never says motherfucker. They cut, she's buckle up for safety, and then they cut. They cut outside. Spitting teeth. I was blown away. My mind has played tricked on me for 20 years.
Well, yeah, because
it's weird how that happens.
It's implied.
You're right. So it's not my fault, you're saying. No. So I'm still smart.
No, you're not Dan. Crazy. It's implied. Okay. So you think it's going to happen in the movie. You're like, mother, buckle up, mother, beep. And then you're like, oh, yeah, she said motherfucker.
Yeah. Ooh.
So they chase. There's a chase. He drops the gun, and he has to climb it back and puts her...
Well, he doesn't drop the gun. He throws it behind him into the back seat. So I want to be very clear. It's not a drop. He very purposely throws it over his shoulder into the back seat.
And he's putting his butt in her face as he tries to get it, and they are, whatever.
And then he grabs it, she turns, he shoots out her window.
Tries to get it, but... Oh, I wrote down the name Vanessa. So maybe her name's Vanessa.
Maybe
Giselle
Queen Latifa or Giselle? Okay.
Giselle Bundchen. Queen Latifah's name is Belle, but there's a whole bit as to that's not her name. She has some other name, but I don't know. I wrote that down somewhere. Breaks the window. They end up in the dead end, and then they back up, and then so they're backing up towards her, and then she backs up, and then they escape because of backing up, and then they yell at each other.
Yeah. The driving's pretty weird, pretty mundane. There's a lot of chase scenes that don't matter.
The cinematography on the chase scenes looks good, but they're not directed interestingly.
Okay. Yeah. I'll allow that. Yeah.
So then they get out of the car, and then they start arguing, and then she takes his badge away from her, and he pulls out his gun. Points his gun at her and tells her to give her his badge back.
Right in the face.
Oh, in the face? Was it in her face?
Yeah, it was right in the face.
And then she takes his gun away from him.
Yeah.
And then the cops show up, and she has his badge.
Yep.
And I think, does she still have his gun at that point?
I think the gun is on the ground, if I remember correctly. I think the gun got dropped in the scuttle, but she does have the badge.
If a police officer was to lose his badge or his gun to a perp, he would be pretty much done in that department. And
well, listen,
he'd be done.
As he should be. It was pretty easy. She just grabbed it.
Yeah.
She didn't do any special moves. She just reached over and took it. That's not good.
That's not good.
That's not good at all. This guy, not a cop. The character has no cop qualities whatsoever.
They go back to the office. The head cop yells at him again. Also brings up that he killed a parrot. And then I wrote,
"This is my favorite line."
What's her?
When she's yelling about the parrot, his response. I do not know why. His response is, who has a parrot? I mean, of all pets, it's the one who talks. What does that mean? What does it mean, Dan? But I laughed so hard because it doesn't make any sense. But for sure, everybody on set probably laughed because he just improvised that line.
Yeah.
And like, keep it in the movie. Someone will find it funny. It was this guy. I found it so funny. It's the one who talks. How is that relevant? What does that mean?
They made this whole stupid movie to make that one joke to make Tony happy.
And it worked. Thank you, Jimmy.
And I wrote, they have a relationship, ? In his mind, ? Thought was his
mind.
Thought was his sister.
That's 100% right. That was his sister. I mean, that doesn't necessarily nix the relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They could have a sexual relationship, and it could be a sister. That would be different. Here comes the FBI briefing.
Right.
You want to talk about the FBI guy?
Do we know him? I feel like I know him too.
He was weird. I was just like, they try to act like he means something, but they don't give him They literally don't give him anything to do.
Oh, I can't even find him on the list.
Oh, poor guy.
Oh, jeez. His IMDb picture has like super long hair, so that really threw me off. He's got like Fabio level hair coming down there. Yeah. Nope. I mean, I guess Leverage. He was in Leverage. I watched that show. Anyhow, he's not believable as a human being.
Oh, Jesus. Man, I was going to be harsh, but man, go there, Tony.
I just listen. I don't know. I didn't like him. Let's just say that. How about that, Dan?
Every time he shows up, you're like, this wasting of space.
I roll my eyes. I'm just like, come on, guys. Let's move through this scene. Let's charge through it.
Yeah, the FBI. We don't know why they're there. We don't have any understanding of their jurisdiction. Like the FBI, usually when they come in, it's like in Die Hard, the FBI show up and they take charge, right? And then they're in charge.
Yeah,
and then
Agent Johnson.
Yeah.
Agent Johnson, no relation. God damn. So cool.
Funnier than this whole movie.
I don't know. Parrot. It's the one who talks. I'll never get over that.
So then they go into the witness, the interrogation room, and they have to talk to Latifa. And then she yells at Jimmy Fallon, "You shot out my window." And then they're they just sort of leave the room, and then they're like, "You're off the case." Now we get to the point in the movie where, actually, it happens later. They ask Queen Latifah, what do the robbers look like, and she won't tell them.
Well, she tells him she didn't see them. She lies to them straight out.
That's later,
because she definitely saw them. She saw them very well.
But this is the beginning of the part of the movie where Jimmy Fallon's character never tells them what they look like because he saw them, right?
No, he had to have seen them. He was in the car with her. It's not like
Queen Latifah's seen them. And if this information was given to anyone else, it would have meant a lot to the movie. But for some reason, both of these characters withhold the most primary information
so that they can solve the crime themselves, Dan. Just like policemen, they want the credit for themselves.
What does Queen Latifah? What does she get for solving the crime?
No, that's a good point. You're right. It's just for maybe I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why she does it.
And once that goes into your brain, you're just like, I don't understand what's happening in this movie.
I never do. And honestly, I get even more confused when they leave the precinct, when they're walking out together, because she's wearing these pants, Dan.
The black pants? The black silk pants?
Are they silk? They kind of look like windbreakery, but they have fringe on them. They have like little strings that come up. What kind of pants are these? I've never seen these pants before in my entire life. And I was so distracted. I've never seen anything weirder in a movie than these pants with the little fringes as she's walking. It's so weird.
Oh, yeah, wait. Okay, yeah, because this does happen. The FBI guy hassles her. Oh, they throw Jimmy Fallon off the case. They say she has 75 bike tickets, and they're going to keep her car for 2 weeks, and then and that's the point at which she doesn't give them information. So in other words, she could give them it. She could say,
help solve the crime faster to get her car back.
But no, instead she needs to intentionally withhold information to punish them.
It's a principle thing, Dan, okay? She's a woman of principles.
So, boom, boyfriend.
Quickly, was he ever on the case? I don't know if he was ever really on the case to get thrown off the case. He just happened to be the closest one to the robber. Okay, all right, that's fine. Let's move on.
Her boyfriend's at the restaurant and then tries to call her, and then he hangs up, and he's, they're conflicting, and he's there to ring. He's at a restaurant dressed as if it's nighttime. They're there in seemingly the middle of the day.
Broad daylight. Yeah, it's 2:00 at the latest.
Fallon's like, I can get you your cab back, but we got to catch them. She remembers that they were speaking Portuguese, and then Latifa gives him the description, and then she's like, yeah, but the tires didn't shoot out. They couldn't shoot out their tires. That means they have special magic tires, and the only place you can get more of those special magic tires is this one garage.
I don't know if they're magic. I feel like I've heard that these tires before in my life. I think they might be real tires, Dan.
Well, but the point being is, if you have tires that don't get shot by guns,
they heal themselves.
They heal themselves. You don't have to put more of those on there. You can just go get regular tires.
Well, that's a great point. Shit. I actually didn't even think about that. You're right. She literally just said the tire healed itself. So why are they going to get a new tire?
Because once it's healed itself, it only lasts for 50 miles. She says that.
Oh, so there's a range limit on the magic tires. Got it. Okay.
So it's like, they have magic tires, but the magic tires will only work this amount of time. And then I figured out where they have to go within that time frame to get more magic tires, even because they have to buy more magic tires because you have to have magic tires.
And you were worried this movie didn't make sense, Dan. This is perfect. There's no holes in this plot.
Talk about expositioning a place to go.
I mean, Dan, listen, the exposition is very clunky in this movie. I will be honest. As you all know, there's only one place to get these tires.
So then Jimmy Fallon goes and gets in his mom's car, and then he tries to pull out. And you probably like this scene.
Oh, you didn't like Dan? I think I might have teared up a little bit. Let me tell you why, though. Because, again, some of the things he's yelling don't actually make sense for this movie to me. First of all, he just to set the scene for everybody who hasn't seen the movie, he's parallel parked in between two cars, and he just backs up into the car behind him and then slams in the car in front of him and just keeps going back and forth, hitting all the things. And he's yelling things like, this is why you have bumpers. Not how bumpers work. As fast as he's going, he's fucking shit up. But he starts yelling, here comes Junior. I don't know who Junior is. I don't know why he's yelling it, but he's leaning out the window and he's like, here comes Junior. And he slams in front of him. I just died. I was dying, man. It's so good. And he's like, I'm coming out. I mean, it's a great scene, Dan. I don't know what you didn't like about it.
I think I didn't like it because it was in the middle of this movie.
I mean, that's fair.
Okay, Tony, here's my pitch.
Okay, pitch it to me. Pitch it to me, baby.
Queen Latifa.
Yeah.
She's the police officer.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's
Jimmy Fallon, better. Taxi driver who's inherited the taxi from his dad. This is his first day.
Great. He's not a great... yeah, that's good. That's smart.
There it is. There's the movie.
Jimmy Fallon, professional policeman, okay? Can't drive a car for shit.
We make him...
Here comes Junior.
We make him the worst taxi driver ever. And she's all like, you cannot drive my taxi.
She's got to be like, we got to go, motherfucker. I'm chasing the bad guys. He's like, oh, boy.
Slowly driving.
Yeah, that would be great. I'd have a good time with that.
But we have this movie. So they go to the place. Real gem. Oh, then she drives, and then they wait, and then he takes off his uniform because he was still in the uniform, and then we get the Tony's favorite line of the movie.
You didn't see my nads, did you? Come on, Dan, it's funny. You admit it. Nads is a funny word.
It's just in the middle. It's just weird in the middle of this movie. he sexually harasses his lieutenant. Then he's talking to this poor Queen Latifah about his nuts.
The taxi driver.
She's just like, what is? She should have just said, "What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?"
Why didn't he just go into the back seat and change?
Dude.
Why is he doing it right next to her, first of all? I don't understand.
Then he has to give her relationship advice, and then she talks about her grandpa was into cars, and this is where he brings up that supposedly he used to date the lieutenant, supposedly. It becomes nighttime, and the bad guys show up, and do they call it in?
No, but I do remember them having a conversation about calling it in and deciding not to. So the movie makes a very clear point of why they're not doing it, but I don't recall what their reasoning was.
I didn't write it down because it doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
And so what happens is the bad guys just come over and capture both of them. And just
first, she makes a joke.
Oh, yeah.
She calls him Ace Dumbchura.
I did write that down. That was a good joke. But it's also a joke that they lose because they don't. That she makes that later, Tony.
Oh, is that later?
Yeah, that's later.
Dan, that's my next note after you didn't see my nads, did you?
So they catch them. They go like this.
Okay.
I'm a 90-pound model, and I go pop, and I knock out Queen Latifah with one blow.
And her fate, like, she sells it though. Like, the one thing I will say is Latifa looked like she does the head shake. Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't believe it, but she sold it. She sold it good. Good for you, Queen.
They're hung up by a rope. And then we get this big argument about whether or not we should kill them. And then they're like, but we understand you. And then he turns on her. He's like, kill us. I don't know. He says something really stupid.
She starts telling them that he's the cop or something, and that he should be the one, and he's like, whose side are you on, or something.
So there's some weird conflict. And then they escape, and they get into an office, and then there's gas canisters, and so he breaks them so that they'll pour out flammable gas so they won't do anything because they don't want to blow the place up, and then they just leave, and then she refers to him as Ace Dumbchura.
Got it. Okay. But I didn't write any of that down for Ace Dumbchura.
Instead of it being flammable gas, it's nitrous gas, which I guess has the same effect as helium, and so it makes their voices lower, and so they try to, and in addition to it being laughing gas, so their voices are lower and they're laughing.
I didn't understand why their voices got lower. I thought they were doing kind of like the slow motion, but okay. It just literally makes their voices lower. Got it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Cool, man. That's good stuff. Because literally I said, why did their voices change right there?
Because of the effect of the gas, which was not flammable.
Right.
Let's see. Boom, they take a water taxi. They go to Belle's place. The boyfriend's angry, so she takes Jimmy Fallon's badge and then does a blowtorch to it and then gives him the destroyed badge. Another thing that would make him stop being a cop if this happened to him.
Well, not only that, but isn't that kind of like, I'm assuming that's a felony of some sort. Like, I don't think you're allowed to just mess up someone's police badge.
Everyone treats him like he is a nobody on the street, which... You can't
100%.
You can't do that to cops. If he's a police officer, he has all sorts of recourse against all of these people. And and if he doesn't take that recourse, he will be humiliated and he cannot be a cop anymore.
But raise your hand if you believe he is a cop now. Nobody raised their hand. So I get it.
So then she goes to Mom's place, and I think the mom was played by what's her name, Aunt Margaret.
Oh, okay.
And then she sees the two of them together, and then she makes the joke that you wish that she hadn't made. She says, "Jungle fever."
I didn't remember that until you just said it.
Icy breeze goes over the whole of reality of this movie.
A little tumbleweed passing through the screen. Oh no! Oh no! You can't. What year was this?
2000
Was it after 1975? Because you can't.
2004. You couldn't make that joke back then.
Oh, boy.
No white guy.
Well, but in her defense, Dan, she's a raging alcoholic deep into her third blender of margaritas.
So it was her car that they just burnt. Oh, the bad guys burned up their car. And it was a Daewoo. Is that a real kind of car?
I don't know. I thought you would know the answer to that.
I'll look that up. And then
I bet it is.
Then Mom is talking and brings up the newspaper article, and then Queen Latifah's like, "Oh, you're the guy that killed that parrot," because that was in the. That was an okay joke.
I was disappointed that they didn't bring back the talking joke. This would have been a great callback for, it's not even a real pet. It's the one that talks. Come on, guys. Give me more.
They probably shot this scene before they shot that other scene.
Before he improvised that line.
Yeah.
Shoot.
He talks about his bad experience driving, where Dad let go of the wheel and made him drive. They were going 60. They were going 90, and he was 6. Okay, that's a funny joke.
Sure. Yeah, that would be scarring, I guess. But how did you get a license then? You know what I mean? If he's that scared about driving, you think he passed a driver's test? Those DMV people are not nice. They're not lenient at all.
It would never happen. So Mom goes to bed, and so then he goes to his place, which is next door to the mom.
Hold on. Hold on. That's a great joke, but a great joke right before it about alcoholism is that she's going to bed and then she forgot her drink on the table and he goes, "Oh no, she'll be right back." And then she comes back, grabs the cup, and then she goes over and unplugs the blender and grabs the blender and brings the full blender to bed. Great alcoholism joke. It's really solid. Yeah, no, and then it's nice. They walk out the door. Queen Latifah starts walking down the hallway, and he just opens the door next to it. It's cute. It's a cute little joke.
It was actually kind of sweet. You were like, oh, if he wasn't a police officer and you weren't meant to believe that somehow, this might be funny. But he's supposed to be a police officer, and you don't believe it yet.
No, of course not.
So she's going to sleep on the floor, and he's going to take the bed?
I guess so.
How does that work?
Why don't you be a gentleman and offer her the bed? You'll sleep on maybe a couch. You tell me he doesn't have a couch? Because if he lives next to his mom at least had a kitchen, a living room, and a bedroom. So, just saying.
So we're going to have some nice bonding time between the two of them. We don't have that. He knows her real name is Precious. He makes fun of it. She says, "You do say it again, I'll kill you." He says it again as they go to sleep, and she doesn't kill him.
Maybe she already was asleep. Maybe she's a quick sleeper, Dan. You don't know.
Queen Latifah goes to sleep with her watch and her bracelet on.
Oh, I didn't notice that. What I did notice is Jimmy Fallon is laying on the bed incorrectly. This whole sleep scene is out of whack. He's laying perpendicular on his own bed. You don't do that. And she's wearing jewelry. She's going to cut herself in her sleep rolling around. This is out of control, Dan.
So we go back to the police officers. The next morning, we don't resolve anything there. He brings Belle with him for an unknowable reason.
I think it might be illegal to do this. I don't think you're allowed to just bring a civilian along on these things. I don't know.
Well, they're in the office. And so, boom, another robbery begins to happen. He's like, we can catch them if I had my taxi. And so they're like, let's go down to the impound lot. And there we meet the impound lot cop is Patton Oswalt. He made one good joke, which I was like, that's a good joke.
I'm trying to decide if my other favorite joke has already happened or not.
What was your other favorite joke?
When they're getting yelled at by the lieutenant again, and Jimmy Fallon takes the blame. And it's like, no, I made her do this.
Oh, that's later.
Is that later?
That's later.
Okay. Remind me when that happens. That's the next note I have. I didn't take a lot of notes on this movie.
So they're going in a certain direction, and Latifah's like, oh, she's just driving slowly. And she's like, well, if they're going in that direction, it's to fool them this way. That means they're really going to go this way. They're going to drive through. And so we see them doing all the things that she says, which is like, oh, yeah, that's clever. And then she's like...
It's clever, but she doesn't head them off.
No, she's there. She meets them where they're going to come out. That makes sense.
But lets them pass. Yeah, pull out in front of them, make them stop the car, Dan. If you know where they're going to be, you got them dead to rights.
I don't know. So
I don't know either.
they go boom, boom. So they're chasing them. He pulls out his badge. Pull out your badge. You tell him to stop. He pulls out the burnt badge. Okay, whatever. And then there's
okay, whatever.
And then they veer towards pedestrians, and our heroes don't want to kill pedestrians, so they hit a hydrant. Here comes the thing. Fallon turns on the windshield wiper.
It's a good joke.
It's okay.
It's okay. Now, if water is shooting up through your engine and squirting all around, like, that's bad, right? Yeah. That's bad. I feel like it's bad.
Actually, it wouldn't necessarily do any damage because it would drain out there. Are you sure? Dry.
Because one time I drove my car into a deep puddle in a rainstorm, and that shit turned off.
Yeah, well, that's a different issue. That's an issue of what happens is the water gets up in something and causes your situation not to occur anymore, but it doesn't destroy your car. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah,
I don't know. I don't know anything about combustion engines. I'm sorry, Dan.
Now we get to Tony's favorite scene. The girls go under a bridge or something, and then they peel the red off of the car, and now they have a blue car, and then they take off their clothes, and they all change into bikinis.
Why? Why, Dan? Why?
Because
nobody knows what they even look like.
Because of the male gaze.
I understand why the director did. I don't understand why it's happening in the movie.
Okay,
because nobody has seen them. It doesn't matter what they're wearing. This is dumb.
It was so weird. You're just I don't understand. Man. I mean, I understand they're hot girls, okay, but
But they would still be that in their clothes.
Yep.
They don't need to be naked for that. Like, why are they driving around naked? I don't get it, Dan. I don't get it.
So then the lieutenant's like, they're in a BMW. Don't just pull over red BMWs. Pull over all BMWs. And so this cop pulls them over, and then he looks at them, and he has no reason to think that they're the robbers. And then he's like, pop the trunk. And they pop the trunk, and then they open the trunk, and then in the trunk is a case, and then they open the case, and in the case is lingerie. And it's like, oh, a tee-hee-hee, a tee-hee-hee, lingerie tee-hee-hee.
Dan, my arms are up. For the audio listeners, my hands are up. I give up. I don't understand. I don't get it. You know what is sexier, Dan?
Then what?
A little bit of a tease. Instead of being in bikinis, what if they had just a slightly low cut V? That's tantalizing.
That's the next.
I don't understand why they're naked.
That's the next outfit they put on.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I jumped the gun. Then I don't like this scene. I don't think it's smart. I think it's stupid.
There are two very stupid scenes in a row. So they're back at the cop's office. Belle, she's like, "I'm taking Belle's license," and Andy. This is that point at which Andy protects.
Okay, this is great. Okay,
takes the blame.
Yeah, he's taking the blame, and then the lieutenant is decides to test him. Then she's like, "Oh, really? This was your idea?" And she's like, "What kind of car is it?" And he doesn't know. He doesn't know the kind of car. And so Queen Latifah is trying to mouth it to him. You know what I mean? And he doesn't get it. And then the lieutenant knows. And Queen Latifah looks at him. She goes, "Crown Victoria." And Jimmy Fallon takes a beat and says, "I don't know what that means." I lost it. So good. It was the best delivery he gives in the entire movie. Because he's not trying too hard. It was very subtle, very defeatist. It was very nice. It was well done.
So
I just like to point out the good things in these movies.
So for an unknowable reason, they bring in the cop that stopped the blue BMW, and then he's like, "Yo, it's just these super hot girls," and then they're all like, "Oh yeah, that's them." And then
it was 4 girls. That's who we're looking for. Idiots.
And then the lieutenant's like, "Why didn't you tell us this?" And he's all like, "I have no because the writers wouldn't let us tell you till now in the movie
because the lines wouldn't let me say it. I don't know."
And so then she takes his badge away. He gives her the burnt badge. But then she gives Belle her license back.
Yes. I don't know why. They don't give her a reason. She's just like, I'm going to give it back, but don't let me catch you again.
So then she goes back to her garage, which she has, which I don't understand.
I feel like she's got 3 or 4 of them throughout the city, like Grand Theft Auto.
And then Andy is there with her still. And then Belle's like, we got to catch those thieves. Then, Belle's like, if we catch those thieves, then the lieutenant will love you. So,
I don't think that's right.
So
I don't have a lot to say. I don't think that's a correct assessment. I think if you continue to investigate something you're not supposed to investigate, I think you'd be in trouble.
And it doesn't work. She doesn't love him at the end.
No, she doesn't love him because why would she? It's
a bad supposition. So Belle's like, now I'm going to teach you how to drive. Do you want to talk about how she teaches him how to drive?
I mean, she doesn't really teach him how to drive. He just turns on music and it relaxes him.
Yep.
Would that be a correct assessment of the driving lesson?
That's it.
Or sing. She makes him sing. That's what it is.
Yeah. Sing Natalie Cole.
Oh no, I did like it. What is he singing? He's singing something very high pitched.
Natalie Cole.
Yeah. So he's doing his falsetto voice, and I don't know, it's funny.
It was a genuine moment. It was the only genuine moment in the whole movie, and I was like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah, it was all right.
They go back, apologize to Jesse. Oh, they go to Mom's apartment. Jesse's there, and we all make apologies. Everyone's happy.
Wait. At Mom's apartment, right? And the boyfriend's there.
Yeah, there's some.
They hooked up, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They hooked up.
Then they're having dinner, and then they're like, how did they get away with this? How did they have a parking spot? How did they this? Oh my God, it's really the trash truck. It's the garbage truck. The garbage truck is the key. They don't take the money with them for an unknowable reason. I don't know why they wouldn't take the money with them because they always get away.
Well, okay, Dan, fine.
I guess the dude stopped them.
One time they got caught, and then lingerie saved the day.
Yeah, he should have said that the guy searched the... That's what they should have done. That's the thing, is the cop should have said, I searched the car and there wasn't any money, but there were 2 cases in there. He didn't look in both. He should have looked in the case and realized that there wasn't any, there was not money in that car. And then they're like,
sure.
Well, how was there not money in the... See, that actually makes sense. They have it in the movie how to make it make sense, but they didn't do it.
But they don't.
They figure out
they're close.
They figure out
they're close.
They figure out it's a garbage truck because they're able to find a parking spot. Which doesn't make any sense because there are no parking spots in front of banks. And it doesn't explain.
I don't go to banks.
And the garbage truck doesn't explain why they would have a parking spot. Oh, maybe it's because it's street sweep. I don't even know. So stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. You're overthinking it again, Dan.
So just
gotta go with the flow.
So their idea is to break into the Department of Sanitation, which is like this small building that has a thing on the door, and do you want to talk about that scene?
It's not a real building.
I don't want to talk about it.
I'll just tell you that, Dan. It's not a chance that this is a real building. But this is my biggest joke of the movie.
Okay. Tell me the biggest joke.
You don't know what it is yet?
No, I no.
When the guy comes to the door?
Oh, the old guy? The old guy comes to the door. Yeah.
The old guy comes to the door, and Jimmy Fallon asks him his name. He's like, Vern. Jimmy Fallon doesn't understand. He's like, oh, Burn? Something, I don't know, something else. And the old man looks him dead in the face and screams at him, Vern! It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. That guy deserves an Oscar. A supporting actor Oscar. I loved it. And the rest of the night, I just kept yelling Vern at my wife, and she did not find it as funny as I did.
Exactly.
Vern!
So they figure out who the trash truck driver is, and then they say his name is Anthony Scalia, who's one of the Supreme Court justices. And then when we finally see the guy, he's wearing his coveralls, and it says John.
I wasn't paying nearly enough attention to catch any of that.
I don't understand any of this. So the bad guys have kidnapped the dude and his wife while they use his trash truck. the girls are at their hideout, just being sexy and shooting guns.
Yeah, why?
I don't know.
Why? No, you don't know, do you?
So then they figure out, based on what this guy's route is, where the next robbery is going to occur, and they tell them, and then all the cops show up, but then they take this hostage, but then the lieutenant's like, take me instead of the hostage so that she's the prisoner, and
they do?
And they do.
You would never do that. Why would you want a police officer as your hostage? Take a civilian.
And then what happens, Tony, is before they load her into the car.
Oh, no. I don't even know if I remember. No, I didn't write anything down. What happens?
Giselle molests the lieutenant while searching her.
Why didn't I write that down? Weird. It was pretty funny.
It was it was weird and inappropriate, but it was funny. You're just like, this is very weird because all the guy cops are watching the one woman feel up the other woman. I mean, she doesn't.
And they're all into it.
That's
Jimmy, the problem.
Jimmy
all
Fallon's,
the cops are like, "Oh, can you take me as well?" I think somebody said something like that. I was like, "Oh my god, oh my god, you guys!"
If you're gonna be, and why? But why does she search her?
Because it's fun.
Gonna frisk her in case she's wearing a wire.
A wire. Okay, great, smart.
What is that? A wire?
I don't know.
I don't know. Tracking device.
A tracking device. Yeah, sure. Like a cell phone. You know, one of those things. But a wire.
Then they're like, okay, we're leaving. Nobody follow us. They say, they do the no cops can follow us.
No, yeah.
It's not like there's not
even though we've got one of your own now.
And it's not like there aren't unmarked cop cars in the city of New York City. So we immediately cut to the helicopter overhead, and the helicopter's like, we lost them.
Well, yeah.
They didn't do anything to lose them. The copter's just, we lost them.
That guy's having a bad day. All right, Dan, don't give him a hard time.
So they drove through Grand Central Station somehow in their car.
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense. And then Belle's like, "Let me call in the cavalry," and she calls calls out, "All bike messengers, all bike messengers, all bike messengers."
Her old bike gang.
And then they spread out across the city to watch where they're going, and then they see the garbage truck. Then they're like, "Oh wait, there's the garbage truck," and so they follow the garbage truck, or they grab the garbage truck and they go to the hideout. And then the girls leave the BMW and get in different cars.
Yeah.
And then at the hideout, they get the cell phone, so they're called Giselle, and they're all like, "We'll give you the money if you give us the lieutenant." And then there's a whole chase on a highway.
Well, before the chase scene, Queen
whatever.
Latifah's taking the money from the garbage thing and just stuffing it in her outfit. Yeah. And she's like, I thought it was funny. She looks at Jimmy and she's like, "I'm just going to take a couple thou for the damage to my cab," as she's stealing money. I thought that was very funny. Yeah, it's good.
You want to talk about Queen Latifah's hair right now?
What's going on with her hair? Is it as crazy as her pants?
If you were paying attention, somehow when they start this scene, she has her hair's all like nicely, like it's been done up. And then halfway through the scene, it goes back to being the nice straight cut that it was. Okay. And you're like, I do not understand.
Different days, man. They had to come back, shoot, reshoots. It happens. It happens to the best of us.
So do you want to talk about the chase and the high-speed transfer of money per person?
Oh, sure. It's really dumb. On the left side, he's getting money, and on the right side, the left side, Queen Latifah's giving the money, and then the lieutenant's coming in the right side. But Jimmy's like, "We gotta stall him. I got a plan." So then they just keep pushing her back out the window or something, and she's like, "I can't give you the money." I don't know. It's very strange. But then finally, his plan comes to fruition, and he, of course, takes the lieutenant, and they give them the money, and then they stop, and the two bad cars drive off the ledge because the freeway is not finished, and they somehow jump into an island. So his plan was to drive them off a freeway and kill them all. That's his plan.
Didn't you really hope that the cars crashed down into the? You hope because there's no way they could make that jump. It's like
No.
two things that are even like this. If you jump off the one, you just go. Ooh.
Listen, if that's your plan, you have to give him a joke afterwards where they're like, oh, wow, that was a great plan. He's like, oh yeah, no, I meant for them to land on the thing. Definitely. I didn't mean for them to fall to their death. That's for sure. It's just so stupid. But that's what happens.
It was so dumb. And then but Queen Latifah is shot, and so Jimmy Fallon has to drive her to the hospital.
Right, that's right.
And then he crashes into the hospital because he's not actually learned how to drive it. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
They're like, par for the course.
Part of me is like respect to the nurse, who's the only one in the hospital with speaking lines, who it drives into the hospital and she's like, fuck it, get her out of the car. We got to get her into surgery. Let's go. Like, good for you for being a professional. But this dude just drove through a hospital, killed 10 to 12 patients in the waiting room. I don't know.
So do you want to talk about the epilogue, Tony?
Is there an epilogue?
What do you mean, is there an epilogue? Of course there's an epilogue.
I don't remember what happens.
You don't remember what happens?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Belle becomes a NASCAR race driver.
This is why I don't remember, Dan. What are you talking? Is that real?
What do you mean? Don't you remember her being a NASCAR race driver?
How does that even make any sense?
Because she likes to drive fast.
She drives a taxi.
No.
Okay.
Actually, she doesn't. I mean, she owns a taxi, but she doesn't really drive a taxi.
That's fair. No, I don't. Oh, no, I do remember this. And then Jimmy Fallon and Esposito, they come up in disguises.
As?
Right?
As?
Russians? Russian mob?
Russian mafia. You got that right.
Mafia. Yeah, I nailed it. But they don't do Russian accents, do they?
No.
Okay, just checking.
He hits on the lieutenant, and she says no.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Jesse asks Belle to marry him.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then who's the big final cameo of the movie?
Is that Dale Earnhardt Jr.?
Pretty close. Jeff Gordon.
Damn it!
So
I just threw out a race car driver. I don't know.
The final scene is Jeff Gordon and Queen Latifah driving towards the start of the race and him saying, "Congratulations."
Because he knows her? Because he knows her so well. Now he's like, I've watched your journey as a taxi driver for years. I'm so happy you finally got your chance at NASCAR. This is beautiful. What a beautiful moment that they give her.
Before we started doing this, I was like, I want to just turn something on to watch something that doesn't cause me pain. I put on Bullet Train. And I got to the point where, what's his name, does his cameo in Magic Mike.
Channing Tatum.
And I'm like,
yeah,
this is
so
the
good.
funniest cameo ever. And then you look at this cameo and you're like,
why is he even here?
Why is this?
Doesn't make any sense.
What was the movie we did last week with the other worst cameos in the world? Oh, the American Piper guys.
Wild Hogs?
Wild Hogs, like terrible.
Okay.
Terrible.
Yeah, good stuff.
Oh, yeah, the cocaine picture house guy.
Oh, yeah.
And then we have a series of outtakes, funnier than the whole movie.
Oh, I don't think I stuck around for the outtakes.
No, that's part of the movie.
I was just over it. I'll be honest with you. I don't even remember the last scene. So,
you love this movie, Tony.
I said the last time I laughed was Vern. And then I was pretty much done.
Another half an hour of the movie.
Yeah. I didn't need the rest of it.
So that's, yeah. And Jimmy Fallon went on to make the baseball movie with Drew Barrymore.
Fever Pitch.
Which was an enjoyable movie.
Yeah, I like Fever Pitch. Yeah, I think it's great.
I remember seeing it. I think I watched it on TV. I didn't know when it came out. And I was like, oh, I enjoyed this.
Dan, I just want you to know, your audio is messed up all of a sudden. But I don't care enough to stop the podcast.
What's wrong with my audio? Oh.
I don't know. It got very, very far away.
Plug that in. Test.
Yep, there you go.
I'm back.
Yeah, something must have just got loose or something. I don't know. You sound great.
Back, baby.
back.
Okay.
Vern!
Let me do all my lines again. Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, can we just ADR it, please?
Jeff Gordon, the worst cameo ever. The Russian Mafia. The lieutenant still does not want to sleep with Jimmy Fallon. And they made a movie called Fever Pitch with Drew Barrymore.
All right. I'll slice that back in the original, no problem.
And just think, Drew Barrymore was in that 27 dates or whatever, 365 dates a year movie with Adam
50
Sandler.
First Dates with Adam Sandler.
That was a good movie too. She's pretty good at doing good movies with people that have a tendency to make bad comedies.
Whoa, why are you coming after Adam Sandler? This guy hasn't done anything. What's going on? Have you seen this Bar Mitzvah movie yet?
Oh, man,
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I figured you're going to maybe pick that for this week.
I'll have to watch it. I haven't even seen the trailer. I'll have to watch the trailer, see what's going on.
Oh, it's going to be bad. It's Father of the Bride, but I have daughters, and they're having bat mitzvahs.
There you go. See? You get it. You get it.
Tony, what did you like this week?
Dan, my most anticipated film of the summer. We went and saw Gran Turismo, and it is fucking delightful.
Yeah.
Solid sports movie. What's the guy's name? Neil Blomkamp? Is that how you say it?
Blomkamp,
the director?
yeah.
Fuck, he knows what he's doing. Jesus, it's beautiful. The races are just cinematically, it looks incredible.
Okay.
It's you got the nice tension. It's great. It's a great sports movie. It's a great summer blockbuster. Everybody go see it. David Harbour, greatest actor alive. I love him so much.
Did they already take it out of all the theaters it's in already? Probably.
No, it just started. This is opening weekend right now. So by the time this comes out, it'll be probably gone.
Did it make any money? Because I did not even know it came out. I mean, I remember we talked about it and it looked good. I think
it did okay. It definitely beat Barbie, but that doesn't mean much anymore.
No, but it beat the Blue Beetle. Poor Blue Beetle.
It did.
Poor sad
Blue Beetles.
Sad.
Did you see it?
No one saw it.
Oh, I thought that's what you just said. Sorry.
Sad. Sad.
Box office battle from Variety 1 hour ago. Barbie and Gran Turismo feud over who won the weekend. Interesting.
Feud.
Wow. They made over 50.
Oh, okay. So it's going to do okay.
So,
and if it does okay, you're
I hope so.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too. It was good.
Yeah, I read a thing on Twitter. This guy interviewed Neil Blomkamp about it. And basically his interview was like, so everybody loved it when you made that first movie, and then everybody hated you for a long time. So how does that go for you? Okay, and here's another question about how everybody loved you when you made that first movie, and now you're making other movies.
Nobody likes
and they're not that first movie because everybody loved that first movie. How that first movie? Remember that first movie? Can we talk about that first? Let's talk about that first movie and not anything else you've done. It's like. And he shuts down. He has a breakdown in the middle of the interview. It's just
how could you not?
Can we just talk about Gran Turismo?
Such a dick move.
Just talk about my movie. It's like I understand you love my other movie, and I understand you hate all my other movies. Can we just talk about my current movie?
I'm here to talk about this new movie.
It was really disheartening.
Well, I would have punched him right in the face.
So something I liked this week, I watched the Neil Brennan new stand-up comedy special on Netflix. He's the guy that was the writer on Chappelle Show. He's very funny. He's insane. Some very funny bits in there. I also watched The Flash, and I also watched some of the new Ashoka stuff.
Ahsoka. Yeah, is that not good? I don't love Rosario Dawson, so I'm kind of steering clear until people tell me it's good.
She didn't seem like she's the worst part of it. The rest of it's the worst part of it.
Okay. Well, I guess that's something. I don't know.
What's her name from the Scott Pilgrim movies in there? You're just like, wow, they painted her blue and they're going to give her nothing to do.
Oh, yeah.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who I love. And I was just like, oh, man, it felt terrible. That Flash movie, I started it and then
Yeah, talk to me. You didn't even finish it?
God, no, it was so terrible.
It gets so much worse, Dan. Oh, boy, you really choked.
I'm going to tell you what I did on the Flash movie. I watched the beginning, and then when he had to stand like this to start running, I was like, what is happening? Why whose idea is this? This is bad. I've seen the TV show. He didn't do this in the TV show. TV show, he just does Flash stuff. I'm like, I gotta stand like this exactly, and I gotta hold the pole. I'm like, you lost me. No one can say this is a great DC movie if that's how it starts. And then
it's not a great DC movie. I could just tell you.
I kept going through things, and then I got to the thing where they save Supergirl, and I was like, yeah, Supergirl's fucking so hot and so cool. And then,
she's awesome.
She's awesome.
She's great.
You're like, why is this a Flash movie? Why isn't this a Supergirl movie? I don't understand.
Yeah.
And then they kill everybody, and then they go back in the past, and it takes them 1 second, and then everybody's alive, and then they do it again. I was like, come on, just give the characters a plan. It's like, we're too dumb to have a plan. We're just going to run and punch. Like, what? I don't understand. And then go back in time, and then try and punch over here. What is? Come on, guys! What are you, morons?
That's the plan.
It's so stupid. The plan is just to keep on going back in time till we get it right. Like, these aren't movies anymore. They're just like, I don't even know what they are. They're stupid.
But Dan, don't worry. It's the greatest superhero film ever made. That's what they said before it came out. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh wait, we have 6 other things to talk about. There's a couple other things to talk about.
6?
No, 2. They just dropped the trailer for your boys, Zack Snyder's new Star Wars movie.
Oh, yeah, save that because that leads into what we're watching next week.
Okay.
But Rebel Moon looks dope.
I'm like,
oh my God.
If he makes the movie that's in this trailer, 100% in. Looks amazing.
I'm so pumped, man. I am so excited for this.
Then I watched the trailer for this other movie called The Creator. Which is, I watched that trailer and I was like, oh my God, so there's 2 science fiction movies that have the ability to be great science fiction movies. And
I think The Creator's going to be very sad. I'm a little concerned.
You mean
it's
depressing?
Going to be depressing. Yeah, sorry, yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm going to see it. I'll tell you that. I'll see it as soon as I can.
I always go back to Children of Men, one of the most depressing movies ever made.
Yeah.
One of the best science fiction movies ever made. And it's like, you got to make those movies. You got to make them, and when you watch them, you're just like, I'm so invested in this, and this is where filmmaking succeeds, and it dies in the Flash going like this. Throw me that candy bar. Candy bar flies across there, hits him in the face. This is the Flash. Yeah. He can just go like this and catch the candy bar and put it in his mouth.
You would think so. You would think.
But this would be a funny bit. It hits him in the face. Like,
how did you feel about Ben Affleck in The Flash?
He was fun. He was good. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That little speech he gives, it's nice.
He's good.
It's nice.
Yep. You were like, if they just did The Flash like we were doing The Flash and we're not trying to do all this other weird shit that does. Yeah. And I mean, and even when he's running, he's like, I'm running in slow-mo and then I'm just sliding across the ground. I don't understand that. Yeah. This doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it's not good. It's not good. I'd like to focus on the Ben Affleck portion.
Sure.
Which is the first 3 to 4 minutes.
and
then it's garbage.
Michael Keaton as Batman. I watched some of that. That looked like it was going to be fine. But
Keaton's great. Keaton's Keaton.
He's
doing his thing.
Having what's his name play 2 roles. It's like we don't want one of him.
Yeah, it's Doubleberry is the most grating thing ever. It's tough to watch.
It's like, here's the movie we need. Someone that's obnoxious times 2.
Give him twice.
And the one is oblivious and obnoxious. It's like, no.
Yeah, it's not good, Dan. It's not good. We'll talk about one other thing. We finally saw Asteroid City.
What'd you think of Asteroid City?
I mean, it's wonderful, right? I mean, it's great. But here's my problem with watching Wes Anderson movies, and this is why I don't do it. It's like watching art, and I feel like that sounds stupid to say that, but it doesn't feel like a movie. It feels like performance art. And while the message and the acting and the story, it's all beautiful and wonderful, I never get invested. Like, I just can't do it because I'm just like, it's so performance arty. I can't do it. But it's wonderful, and there's some really, really nice moments in the movie that some of the acting is like ridiculous.
Matt Damon in the garage with the little part.
Oh God,
that was like one of my favorite scenes.
The first problem or the second problem. You got a third problem we've never seen before. He's great.
When that weird little thing falls on the ground. Oh my god, this is so good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, Tony, what do you got for us?
All right, so Rebel Moon trailer dropped, and I'm watching it. My mouth's wide open. I'm so excited for December. And then a friend of mine pops on the screen. Not a real friend of mine. Charlie Hunnam. And I was like, man, we haven't seen him in a hot minute. What happened to this guy? And then I remember what happened to this guy. In 2017, he made this movie, and it totally derailed his career. We're going to watch King Arthur, Legend of the Sword.
What? What is King Arthur, Legend of the Sword?
That was the last big movie Charlie Hunnam did. They tried to start a franchise.
Charlie.
I believe that they had greenlit multiple movies, and this movie tanked so hard that they canceled them all. So first of all, good for him for getting back on the horse here. But we're gonna go watch Guy Ritchie's King Arthur, Legend of the Sword.
Guy Ritchie, didn't he do the Dr. Dolittle movie that we watched? Did he do the? He
did Aladdin. I know that, right? Wasn't that him?
Guy Ritchie.
I'm pretty sure he did the Aladdin movie, didn't he? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Hold on. Let's do Guy Ritchie. Go to his IMDb here. Stand by. What's Guy been doing lately?
He's runs hot and cold.
Operation Fortune. I did actually like that. I enjoyed it. Yeah, Aladdin. He did Aladdin. So
what?
Yeah, he wrote it and I think also directed it.
I mean, Aladdin, like the Disney movie Aladdin?
The live action remake. He directed it, and it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But the song One Jump is very Guy Ritchie directed, and it totally ruined it for me. Like, you're like, oh no, this is Guy Ritchie right here. I don't like it. But no, he did Aladdin.
Did he do the Dr.
King Arthur?
Did he do the Dr. Dolittle? Terrible.
He did Sherlock Holmes.
Well, maybe he did.
I don't see Doolittle on here.
Okay, good. We don't have to blame him for that.
No, he's fine.
Okay,
he's clear of that.
I forgive him.
Anyhow, we're doing King Arthur, Legend of the Sword.
I'm excited because when you say that, I have nothing in my mind. I'm like nothing. There's no images come up, no trailer, no movie poster, no understanding.
Perfect.
I know
that's what we want.
Nothing. I have come in with zero impression of it, which is a beautiful place to be.
I'm excited. About it.
Cool. That's good. Well, very good. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, because if you give us a thumbs up, that's the most important thing you can do for the show. It's interesting.
Is that true?
I watch a lot of shows, and more and more of them are really smart about putting that up front. Like, give us a thumbs up if you like the thing, because it does.
And yet you still don't do it.
We do it right at the end, just to make sure.
Nobody makes it to the end. We are 90 minutes into this podcast. Nobody's here, and you're finally pitching it. Maybe we move it to the beginning then, Dan.
Maybe we'll try that at the beginning. Leave a comment or subscribe. We picked up like 6 subscribers in the last month, so we're on a roll.
Oh, nice. So, probably Twilight related.
Rocking and rolling. And we'll be
back
next week talking about King Arthur and the something of the sword.
The legend. It's the legend of the sword.
It's legendary sword. Excalibur or the other one, because there's 2 swords. 2 swords, not 1 sword. 2 swords. 2
swords? He's got 2 swords?
There's 2 swords involved.
Oh, shit. I can't wait to find out which one it is.
Yeah, there's like Gryffindor, and then there's the other one.
No, that's Harry Potter. Nailed it.
We'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.